So here we are with another episode of Gintama Poroi arc with episode 3, and we see a character that we have not saw in a long time, well over a decade, and that is Ikumatsu. Now, for many of you, you do know she appeared way back in season 1 with 201 episodes, and in particular in mine, the episode I remember, I think she appeared twice in season 1, and the episode I remember her in, unless it's that same episode, that one episode, it was during Christmas time. And we all know a lot of people like to pair her with Katsura. So whenever she appears, there is Katsura along with her. He was on top of her roof. And he had her underwear in her hand. Now, I can't remember how the episode played out, but I do remember that particular scene. And she opened her window and she sees Katsura right outside, her lingerie in his hand. And I forgot how it went down, but that's just the memory. That's the scene that stuck in my mind for the past 6 years since I started this series. And I have not seen her since, but I'm glad they brought her back now, you know, in high def and, you know, a bigger, wider resolution, all that stuff. So this little arc is going to be focusing on her, and that's one thing I love about Gintama. They love to bring in back their secondary characters to give them development through these little mini arcs. So for Ikumatsu, we found out something that we would have never known back in season 1. Even though she is the person that runs the ramen shop, and we know that she was married at one point, but her husband died. But what we come to find out through her background story is that she used to be a poor person with her parents. But even though she was poor, she was happy. You know, she worked hard, her family worked hard, and through their hard work, they developed a high-end store that sold high-end quality material for clothing and textiles and all of that stuff. And eventually she started doing well off, but that was at the cost of her family. Her father left her and her mother at a very young age to hook up with a mistress. Okay, and then eventually she got news that he died. Now, because he left her at such a young age, she doesn't remember him all that much, and she and her mother has been running the business for a long time till her mother died 6 years prior to what's currently going on. So even then, she has been working at the ramen shop while also still being the head leader of the Nishikaya's group. So this is something that we would have never known 10 years prior. So I'm glad that they told us more of her character and, you know, started to develop her character through this little mini arc for her. So we also have where, you know, Katsura is here and they're making fun of him. Gintoki's making fun of him in particular because it's like, you know, you have the hots where you only go after married women. Stop lying to yourself. And it's, I kind of ship these two because anytime you see her, Katsura is in the mix. He has to be there, even though he highly denies it. Okay, but nonetheless, they what happened in the episode was basically before her husband died, they would have a year-end tradition close to Christmas time, and a old scrubby looking homeless man would come into the shop with very little change. And he will buy a bowl of ramen, but always claim that he can never finish it off. So what he does, he splits it into 3. Now, he did stop coming 1 year, and the year after, her husband has died. But when the homeless man did leave, he had a scarf with him. And this scarf, even though it was worn out and everything, it was of quality material. So she's been searching for this old man, and what happened was Katsura asked Gintoki, Kagura, and Shinpachi to help him find this old man and bring him to her. So while they're going on the search for him, they found this guy who has, you know, who's been planning revenge for the longest time towards Katsura and Gintoki, and it goes back to 10 years ago, the same guy who kidnapped her, and they end up rescuing her, and he has been plotting revenge for 10 years. For 10 years, this guy has been plotting revenge, and he is homeless at the same time, too. And also, Hasegawa was in the episodes, who was pretty hilarious, and we come to find out that he was in the Lord of the Homeless People. It was actually the other homeless guy. I never caught his name, though, but we always seen him, and he's always with Hasegawa. He's actually the Lord, or the leader of the wasted dump homeless people, and they're going to be the ones to go search for this old man. Now, as you're watching the episode and they talked about Ikumatsu's family situation, how her father left her at a young age, and then this homeless man, you eventually start piecing the pieces together even before they announced it, that this old homeless man is actually her father. So her father's been coming to her shop over the years to see how she was doing, but the fact that he left her at such a young age, she has no recollection of how he looks like or who he even is. So eventually he did stop, and we don't know exactly the reasons, but they will tell us by next week's episode of why he stopped. And I'm not going to spoil the preview, because if you did not see it, then I'm not going to say anything. But nonetheless, we're going to see why he stopped, and is he going to ask for forgiveness. And there was pretty hilarious moments. Of course, the beginning of the episode, the odd jobs were starving, and when they got that bowl of ramen, they ate like it was their last meal. And also, obviously, Katsura's fetishes is something to be questioned. He's into NTR. You know, he's into that type of fish, and also for the fact that he's into married women. But nonetheless, I was really glad to see Ikumatsu after such a long time. It was so refreshing to see her, and you know, she's still as beautiful as ever. And I want to see how is the odd jobs and Katsura are going to find this old man before the guy who is plotting revenge finds him and kills him and brings her practical dead father to her. So, and we're going to wonder how is Ikumatsu and her father going to realign their relationship eventually after basically 20 years later. So if you guys saw this episode of Gintama Poroi Arc episode 3, do drop a comment down below on how you felt about this week's episode. How do you feel after seeing Ikumatsu? How do you feel after all this time of her not appearing in the series? The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!